if I record it, then I've got it. I've also made a handout for you, but I thought I'll send the handout afterwards because then it will all make much more sense after we've been through. So you should have your, so Samara, obviously you won't. But so Lauren and Nikki should have your boxes of Wreath kit already been delivered. Yeah, Brill. Okay, have you got one, Lauren, as well?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay, so this is your one to just have a practice one, make a sample with at home, and then when you get to the workshop, whenever you're running a workshop, there'll be a spare one there for you to use as your demo kit. So once you've made up this one, this can be your, like, I guess you can each time perpetually be making a new sample one, and you can hand them out to your friends or put them all over your house. So the first one that you make will be like your first sample one to take in. When you get there, there'll be another spare full kit for you so you can say, this is what it looks like when it's finished, and this is the one I'm going to use to do the demo with. And then on the next, obviously you'll just do whatever you like with them when you finish with them. Just, share the love. Okay, so I think most of the information, there's a lot of information in terms of just the usual handbook stuff that I won't go through now. That's just all kind of like access where you go and stuff, but they're all hosted in the Emporium experience area. So it's really nice. It's so brilliantly geared up for workshops. It's kind of this circular space, lots of space. Everybody's got a nice kind of workspace, which is theirs to work within, as Lauren will know, and then there's kind of like space in the middle for you to be. So it's been really well thought out in terms of like hosting workshops, because it means you can get to everybody, but you're kind of still separate from everyone. It's really nice. I've got a photograph of it as well, so I'll share that with you. Okay, so in your kit, there's the Wreath base. There's 3 different types of foliage. So there's this like fir, which is basically Christmas tree. There's another type of fir or pine, which is a bit more spindly, this one here. And then there's some eucalyptus. That's it. It's much simpler than last year. We had loads more last year. To be honest, this will be quite quick to teach. It's nice. And then you've also got some like decoration bits. So you've got 3 different types of cones. These ones with 3 on. And then these 2 types as well. And they're brilliant because they're already on proddy bits that are really, really substantial. So you can just like ram those in. Now, it's similar to the needle felting, Lauren. So this is such a nice workshop to teach, because it's not like, basically everybody's will look really nice and they'll all look different. And it's not like, kind of, with sewing or whatever, you can go wrong, or knitting, you can like drop a stitch and stuff like that. It's not really like that. Kind of however people decide to put it on, it will look really lovely as long as they kind of follow your guidelines. So you should, if you have anybody that is doubting themselves creatively, just reassure them, say, don't worry, it's gonna look great, come on, it's fine, we can keep adding and taking away or keep changing the shape of it slightly, so you can be very confident in terms of reassuring them that whatever they make is going to look lovely. You might find some people like doubt themselves every now and then, like, oh god, mine doesn't look as nice as that person's. No, it looks amazing, it's fine to know, let's maybe add this in here, whatever. Like, it's very much like that, rather than a do this, then do this, this is what we're looking for. Like, it's much kind of freer than that, which I think is really nice. There's one thing, so I just opened mine now, and it is quite different to last year's in that we've got less stuff. So normally what you do is you make 4 bunches. You put like one this way there, one that way there, and another 2 there in the middle. But we've only really, looking at their picture, and I don't get any instructions, so but it's quite easy to work it out. We're only going to make 2 bunches this year, so one that kind of goes out that way and one that kind of goes out this way, and then they'll sort of cross over in the middle, and then we'll do some stuff to cover the join in the middle. But because of that, you're gonna need a pair of secateurs. They don't provide secateurs. All they'll provide is a pair of scissors, or they'll provide several pairs of scissors, which is fine for cutting like the eucalyptus, but for cutting this, a bit of a Christmas tree, it's just not going to cut it. Like, you absolutely need to have a pair of secateurs for that. You'll be fine with one pair, but if you don't have any, are you able, if I could always order, if you don't have any, tell me, and I'll prime you a pair to your home for it's only Tuesday, isn't it? For tomorrow or Thursday. But you will need one pair of secateurs. And I think it's very quick to do that bit. So I'm quite confident for you guys to go around and do the secretary bit. I'll go through the steps in a minute, but that is something that you're going to need. Okay, right. So you've welcomed everyone. I'm going to share a different screen now. And the first thing that they need to do is open up their kit and lay the bits and bobs out in front of them. So then you can say to them, right, you've got your wreath base. It's a willow base. It's really substantial, chunky, luxy. It's a really, really nice one. And then you can go through the 3 different types of foliage that I spoke about earlier. And then, and also, so to kind of lay it out in front of them nice and neatly. They won't need their base at the beginning. So I'd probably suggest putting that to one side. And then the first thing that they're going to have to do is tackle their big bit of Christmas tree. So you can explain to them at the beginning what, and I'll put all this in the handout. What we're going to do is essentially make these 2 bunches, like bouquets, and put those onto the wreath base. So we're going to make like a half wreath rather than a full one. And obviously you'll have your example one that you can show them. But this is way, if I put this on here, you'll see that just looks ridiculous. That we don't want that just going round as one of our bunches. It just looks absolutely daft. So Charlotte Martin. Sorry. So the first thing they need to do is break these down to smaller, more manageable pieces. So I'll show you, I've already done it with one of these pieces here. So you've only got 2 bits of that Christmas tree. This is how it came. It was like that, the stalk there, and these 2 bits here. So I chopped off the stalk because we don't want that. And I chopped off these 2 bits. And then if you imagine we have this as a nice bunch like that, actually that's going to sit really nicely on our wreath base like that. If it's a bit too long here, you can always snip one of those bits off if you want to, but I'd leave it. It's nice to leave the ends nice and natural. So you need to do that with both of your bits of Christmas tree furniture. So I'll do that now with the other bit so that you can see. So let's see, try and make it about the same length. Okay. So this is the first one that I've done here in this bunch. I want my second one to be more or less the same length. So I've lined up the points of them, and the bottom of it comes to here. So I'm going to make my first snip in more or less the same place at the bottom here. So we lose a bit of the stalk because you don't want stalk poking out the bottom. So we'll get rid of that. And then it's just a bit too like splayy. So you need to just start chopping off some of these bits. So this bit here definitely goes out for miles. So I'm just going to chop it off right at the bottom. And then what you will do is you place that on top like that to make it a bit neater. I think I'm going to do the same with this bit. And actually, I'm going to do the same with this bit here. So I'm just chopping off. I might keep these 2 bottom bits because actually when you tie the string round, that will kind of bring those up. So can you see now that's a much more sort of neater bunch. So we've got 2 bunches. One is slightly bigger than the other, but that's okay. But they're just much kind of neater bunches that are going to go around the wreath like that. You can keep changing it. So if once you've done it, and you can say to them this, if you feel like once you've got these onto your wreath base and it doesn't look quite right, we can keep adjusting it and keep changing it. So don't worry if once you've got it on there, you're not quite happy with the way it looks. Okay, so we'll bring one of these in front of us, and you need to start building up your 2 bunches in the layers of from most substantial and sturdy foliage to most floaty and least substantial. So this Christmas tree fir is what builds kind of the base, is the back, kind of the main sort of support for everything else. The next bit that you need to do is this more kind of like frondy, spindly fir. So with this, what I would do is just cut some bits off, some bigger than others. So this is loads of this, much more than you need. And Am I big screen for everyone? Is that better? So a few bits of this, and then just kind of poke those in as well. You can put some in slightly behind if you wanted to, and do as many of those in there as you like. You got loads of it, so don't worry. I put some, yeah, slightly behind, some on top. There we go. We do one more bit, I reckon. But, you know, it's not science. However many you like is fine. Do another bit over there. There we go. Happy with that. And it's quite nice because it's quite sort of 3D, whereas with sometimes when you do wreaths, it lays quite flat. But because this is all quite bushy, it's really nice and 3D. Okay, so you've got that. And then finally, you want to add in some bits of eucalyptus. This is really easy to split up. So you'll have kind of the long main stem, and then you'll have bits that come off, that kick off that. So any of these bits that come off, you want to cut them right at the bottom of the main stem, where it joins the main stem. So you end up with as many pieces as you can, like that. And then this bit, you'll probably find is way too long. You might find people who want to have it really long and really kind of a bit more like dramatic and sort of spray spindly outy. But for me, I would probably want it a little bit more compact than this. So if you say you want to shorten a long central piece of eucalyptus, if you cut it immediately above one of the leaves, it means that you've got two pieces that you still can absolutely get away with using. If you were to cut it at halfway point, like say there, then it would look really odd on this piece because you'd have a little bit of stalk sticking up. But as long as you cut it right just immediately after a leaf, then you're all good. Okay, so we'll do that with all of the bits of eucalyptus, and then just start poking that in as well. So ultimately what we're going to be doing is tying string all the way around here. So at the moment, you want to make sure that anything that you're poking in, you can grab in that bit of string down at the bottom. So you might want some bits which have longer stem than others. So this is a longer stem. So with this bit, I can poke it all the way down there. Whereas that bit, a bit more like that. Okay. Odd numbers always works better, like anything. I'm sure you already know that. So you don't want it to be like really even on both sides. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that for starters. So then you can get your string. And like I say, so they should have loads of pairs of scissors. So they'll need their scissors for this. And they can use their scissors for the eucalyptus as well. But if you cut quite a long piece of string, so I'd say like maybe 60, 70 centimeters, and cut that, and then tie that nice and tight around the bottom of your bunch that you've just made. And you want to wrap it around, like, say, 3 times probably. Really tight. And then turn it over. Oh, I haven't caught that bit. Where did that go? In there. Turn it over and just tie a knot on the back. Super tight. Okay. So that's one done. I'm going to really quickly do the other one. This might not be my finest work, but you know, you'll get the idea. Just cut a few more bits of this. But we've got loads of it. It's really good. I don't think you'll run out. If you do run it out, you can always, if necessary, just give the, you know, say somebody's accidentally got like a kit that doesn't seem to be quite as plentiful as other people's, you can always donate them the odd bit from your kit. But I always think when you start doing stuff like that, then they all want another bit, and then it's like, oh no, won't all have a bit. Okay, So there's that. It's a bit gappy in the middle there. Put another bit in. Okay, and then some eucalyptus. Put some little bits in here. Okay, and so when you're happy with that, again, get another piece of string. Oops. And tie around really super tight around the bottom. If you can make sure that they hold back, like say a piece of eucalyptus about like this, it's quite handy for at the end, for covering the join. Right, so I'm tying it super tight. Also, don't cut the ends of the string, leave those string ends nice and long. Okay, so we've got 2 bunches. Ooh. Next thing you need to do is trim any long bits at the bottom, so you can just go around and do that for them. Okey-doke. And then I've still got loads of this left. I've still got a couple of bits of eucalyptus left, which is good because we might want something at the end to cover over this joiny bit of string in the middle. Okay, so next job is to bring back your, any questions so far?
No, all good.
Right. Okay, so here's the base. So you want to just lay your 2 pieces on so that the stringy bits are kind of more or less, they're quite bulky, these bits in the middle. So it's going to be quite bulky, but the stringy bits more or less sort of right next to each other, kind of cross over each other. I'm going to trim that a bit more, you know, because it's the Christmas tree bit. It's so thick. Okay. Okay, so I've trimmed it to within about 1.5 inches of the bottom of the string. As long as you've tied it tight, you'll be okay. So you might find then when you place them on, have a little bit of a play with design. You might find that you find it happy, you're happier with it that way. You might find it happier with it that way. So have a little play. And then when you're happy, you can use these existing bits of string to start winding around. You'll need to add more string as well, but this will kind of get you started. Oh, kind of. So I'm just going to tie this one bit of string around as it is in a nice tight knot, just to get my positioning right, and then get another piece of string. And just start binding it round again. You want to go up this way a little bit, because then that's what really holds it in place. If you just tie the bunch of foliage onto the base here, it will start to flop down once it's hanging up. So what you want to do, so you want kind of the foliage to sort of start, can you see how it's kind of slightly following around the shape of the wreath? So that's great, that's what we want. But you want to make sure that the string goes up slightly. So what I do is I do a couple of goes around here. Oh my God, you need way more string than last year. Sorry. I'm worried you're going to run out of string. I'm going to order you each another roll of this jute string, I think, on Prime, because this is so thick. It takes loads of string to go all the way around. I needed to cut that one that I just cut about 3 times longer than I just did it. Okay, so pretend I just wrapped that around a few times. I'll just cut this off here. I'm going to run out, I think. It's fine, I've got more here, but I'll send you some more so you don't run out. Okay, and then when you keep winding it around, you don't want the string to be kind of all on the top holding it down. So what you want to do is try and weave it slightly underneath some of these bits of foliage, here, so that you are still holding it in place slightly higher up, but you're not like pulling everything in. Do you see what I mean? So I'm going to go underneath that bit, underneath those bits. Oops. And then do another one here. So you can't see the string on the top at all, but I know now that this is going to be much more securely tied. And actually when, so really, really tight, don't be scared to pull it super tight. When it's hanging up, it won't start to flop down. That's probably enough. Okay, you can trim the string off now. So that's that side done. Try and make sure that all of your knots are underneath. You don't really want them on top. But you know. Oh dear, sorry. Right, so that's one. That's nice and sturdy. That's not going anywhere. And then I'm going to get the other one. What I normally do is I cross those over. Yeah, I think that's okay. Let's see. Hang on. Excuse me. No, it needs to be okay. So we kind of need to I was just thinking, because it's quite bulky here, but it's fine. It's better than doing it there, because that's going to be harder. If I move it along like that, then that gap is going to be much harder to make look neat. Whereas if we go like that, actually, it's fine when it's hanging up. So, oh, you're on the wrong. So what I'm going to have is my second one going kind of like that. Can you see? So it'll be quite bulky here in the middle, but that's okay. We'll look fine when it's hanging up. So, it's just the foliage bits which are kind of overlapping. If I hold it like this, you can see. So we've got string here for this one, and then that one's stalks, and then string here for this one, and that one's stalks. So it's just like the bits of stalk, basically, which are kind of overlapping each other. So repeat exactly what we did last time. So take the string and wrap it around to hold it in place on the second piece, the second bunch. Oops. The foliage is all really robust. So I was teaching like a wreath with all dried flowers and foliage last week, and you have to be so delicate with it. But with this one, it's really sturdy. It's sort of just, it can withstand loads. So you can be relatively, you know, manhandle it. Okay, so we've got just one piece of string at the moment on that one. Yeah, you're definitely going to run out of string. I'll order you some more today. So I'm going to do a couple more loops here at the base, just to make sure that it's held on. Quick knot, super tight. And then I'm going to keep this long end and then just weave it through a couple of times, going kind of underneath the very top bits, so that I'm holding it or securing it all. I'm probably going to do this a couple of times, I think, because actually this bit is sticking out quite a lot. I probably want it a little bit more going, following the circle of the base, which is purely like a taste thing. You can have it jutting all the way out if you want to, but I quite like it being a little bit like sort of neat. I'm going to do one more, I think. Okay, and then on the bottom, can you see I wound that round 1, 2, 3 times. Again, pull it really tight, and then you can just tie it to one of these bits of willow. This one here. There we go. Okay. So that's pretty much like, that's the most tricky part's done. That's me out of string though. There's nothing to hold it on, and there's nothing to do the front bit. Okay, so that's the swap camera angles again. So that's the main bit done. So you can have it going sideways, or you can have it like however you want. And then next job, if there's bits that, so again, what they can start to do now is, it's mine goes out loads over here. So what I'd probably do is like snip a couple of these bits off. I'm not gonna, right, this isn't how I'd normally do it, but I'm doing it so that you get the idea. So, because I don't want it to go out quite so far over there. So I'll just be a bit like, there we go, you know, whatever you think. But obviously once they cut it off, they can't add it. Well, they can add stuff back in again, but it's a little bit more tricky. If you think you've got some gaps, you can just prod some stuff in. When you prod some stuff in, use either you can just sit it in between the existing foliage that you've got, and it'll probably sit quite happily, or you can push stuff in between the gaps of the willow base. That holds it quite well as well. So the last thing to do is to put, it's quite nice to try and cover this up, which you can either do with these, actually it does work quite well with doing it with those, or you can also do a little bit of extra greenery in the middle. So I'll show you how to do that, but I need a bit more string. Oh, I had some in here. Okay, we're just going to use wool, merino wool. Where is it? Okay, so I'll change camera again. So to cover this little, yeah, obviously one of the ways is these work really nicely just to cover bits over. You can put those in. I'll show you that in a minute. But if it's quite nice to just add a little bit more greenery in the middle. So cut some pieces of greenery so a lot shorter than they were before. I'm going to get those 2 bits of eucalyptus, and then a few little bits of this spindly fir as well. Oh, I've got a little bit of Christmas tree left as well, actually. Let's do that. And then I'm just going to make like a really mini version of what we just did. So 2 bits going that way, but kind of crossing over in the middle. One going that way, one going that way. And then maybe some eucalyptus. One going that way, one going that way. And then if I tie one bit of string around the middle and just do it like once, I've just done it twice because this is really thin, and then you make like a really sort of mini version of what you've done before, just like this. Can you see? And then if I pull down the eucalyptus, then the leaves of the eucalyptus, because I've only done one bit of string going around, the leaves of the eucalyptus like cover over that one little tiny bit of string. So then you can just put that in the middle and tie it around just with your one piece of string, and it will kind of cover those knotty bits up quite neatly. It's quite a little nifty way of doing it, just with a tiny mini version at the very end. So I'm just going to tie again, super tight on the back, but just with one knot. The aim for this bit is just to eliminate any of the strings, so you don't want to wrap this bit round loads of times. There we go. Okay. Happy. Can't see the string at all. So the final step really is to use as many or as few of these as you like. The sticks on them are quite long. You should be able to use the scissors. It might get you a double pack of lemon secateurs. Yeah. So I find it easier if you cut it on a little bit of a point and a little bit shorter, and then you can just literally like stab it in like that. And that is solid. That's not going anywhere. These ones are already quite short. You might not need to cut it to a point. I just find that it goes in a little bit easier if you do like that. Oops. And then, yeah, wherever you want to, and I'm stabbing this into the willow. So you're finding gaps in between the willow base. I'm just kind of stabbing it in there. That wasn't a very good one, but you get the idea. I'm not doing this in a designy way, by the way. I'm just stabbing them in now so that you can see. But again, you don't want it exactly, just stand up. You don't want it exactly symmetrical. Odd numbers are better. You don't want to have like all the whites on this side, all the browns on that side. You want to kind of mix it up a little bit. Just get them to have a bit of a play. These ones are on a bit of wire, so you can move those around as well once they're in, which is quite nice. Yeah. That's it, basically. That's how you do the wreath. I mean, you know, I could keep going. The only other thing to do is to tie a nice piece of string or ribbon around to hang it up with. So when you do that, they want to have a think about how they want it to hang. So if they'd like it to hang literally like that with the kind of, so that it's like that, you'd want to hang your piece of string directly in the top and center. They want it slightly skew width. They need to hang their string in between some of the bits. So rather than doing it all the way around, I thread it through a few bits of the willow here, because then that's what makes it, if you hang it all the way around, eventually it's just going to slip and slide, so it's hanging like this. So if you want it hanging like this, you need to put it through some bits of the willow, and then it will always hang the angle that you want it at. Can be a little bit fiddly, but you get the idea. But what you can say to them, which is what we did quite a lot last year, is encourage them to, so I will send you more string so that you've got loads, and if they want to just use string to hang it with, then great. But there we go. So you see, if you have it hanging there, then it's not going to slip round, it can't go anywhere. Direct them to Habby, and they can buy like 1 meter of red velvet or dark green velvet or cream, whatever they wanted, or tartan ribbon, and thread that through and hang it by lac, because that completely changes the look of it as well. So you could say that. In terms of preservation, so they can spritz it with water every now and then if they'd like to. It should last up until Christmas. It will get a little bit more crispy, but it'll be fine on their front door. If they wanted to, if it was getting really dry, what you can do is you can sit it in some water, a bucket of like a tray of water every now and then. I mean, I've never done that, but they say you can do that. In terms of hanging, I quite often get people asking about how to hang them. So I think the best way, the absolute best way to hang them, you know those command hooks? So if you get a command hook and you put it on the inside of your front door, but upside down, so it's kind of, imagine this is the back of my front door and I've got the hook, so it's going like this way. And then you put, so a long bit of ribbon or string on your wreaths, and so your wreaths on the front of your door, you put the string or the ribbon all the way over the top of your front door, and then hang the bottom under here like this. And it's a command hook, so ultimately then you can just take it off. You're not drilling anything into your door, you can't see any hooks on the outside. It's like the neatest and nicest, and it's really secure way of hanging it up. think that's everything. Let me just double check my handout because I have where have I put it? Where's it gone? Oh, here. Just double check I didn't say anything else. We use string rather than wire because it means that every single thing on this wreath is totally eco biodegradable. So if they want to, they can keep the wreath base at the end of it if they want to just carefully unsnip all of the string and take it off. But if they just want to, they can put it in the compost and every single part of it will biodegrade, which is really nice. That's why we don't use wire. I've told you about hanging it. I've told you about spraying it, soaking it. I think that's everything. Okay. Please ask me your questions.
I don't think I've got any. So actually, I do have a question. So are we making it along with them, or are we going to do a section and then go and help them, or?
So the way I like to teach, so I taught wreaths on Sunday, the float dried ones, and the way I like to do it is do a step, and then they do that step, and I walk round and help them, and then do the next step, then they do that step, and then I walk around and help them. You'll find that naturally some people take much longer, some people be finished half an hour maybe even before others, probably not for this one, but you know, quite a long time before. That's fine. Like they can go off with two if they want to, they can leave, they can stay with everybody else, they can chit chat, like it doesn't matter. Some people will definitely kind of race on ahead, whereas others will just be enjoying it, taking their time, having a bit of a chit chat. An hour I think is ample for this one because you've literally just got the 2 bouquets to make. Like it's not, whereas if it was a full wreath it takes much longer. You might have some people ask you how you would, if they did want to say make another one, how they'd make it a full wreath. So instead of what you do is you just lay one on like that, and then you keep laying around, and each consecutive one hides the string of the last one, and then the very last one you just tuck the stringy bit underneath the frondsy bits of the first one, so it kind of keeps going around in the same direction. Yeah, it's all right.
I think that was my question.
Okay, I'll will you let me know? So can you just email me if you need? I think I want you to all have 2 pairs of secateurs. I think.
It's okay. With if I do it Saturday and Sunday, will I get 2 boxes of stuff? Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, you'll have a fresh box just for you for every workshop.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So take them both home on Saturday, and then just take one of them in again on Sunday for your, this is what it looks like at the end, and then on Sunday you'll take another I don't know how many you're doing, but you know, you get what I mean. Do you get what I mean?
Oh yeah, so do I get a wreath
every single workshop? Yeah. Are you doing 2 workshops on Saturday? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Lauren. So Saturday the 26th. Yeah, you'll do. So you'll have a fresh box for you at 10 o'clock. Then you'll have another one at 12 o'clock. So on Saturday, home with 3 wreaths.
And then Sunday I have 2 as well. Oh, that's just to be confirmed.
It's not to be confirmed anymore. It's confirmed.
Okay, so there's 2 more on that day as well.
There's 2 more. So you'll have 5 wreaths by the Sunday afternoon. I mean, you could make a fortune. Just put them in the drive and sell them for 50 quid each.
Samara, you can take one home on Saturday.
Oh, thank you. Would you mind, actually, Lauren, would you mind if I donated it to our local school? Because I'm sure they'd love that.
Oh, of course. No, of course, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but keep us posted, Lauren.
I have a quick question, Kate. Sorry, I have a little question. Just in case, let's say they want to go home and they want to add a little bit more colour to their wreath, because I've seen like people want to add flowers, etc. sometimes, like is it the poinsettias and stuff?
Yeah.
Is there like anything that we could recommend or say, or?
Yeah, so if they wanted to add anything, they need to have, so they either need to make sure that it's got quite a sturdy stem. It doesn't need to be as sturdy as this, but a reasonably sturdy stem, and then they can just poke it in the same way that I did with the these cones. If it's not got a long and sturdy stem, the flower, what they need to do is get a piece of wire and wrap that around. It's like quite strong wire, like maybe 16 gauge wire, I think. Wrap that, that like this. Oh, lo and behold. Wrap that like around the stem and then use that to prod it in.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, that would look nice though. I mean, they can add whatever they like, jingle bells, bits of tinsel, you know.
Yeah.
Little decorations. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I'm going to order everybody some string. Maybe. What do you think, Lauren? Do you think you're going to be all right? You don't know, do you?
Let me talk to you. No, I don't know, but
I'm going to order secateurs and string for Saturday and send it to Samara.
Yeah, because she'll be there anyway.
She'll be there anyway, and she can either give it to you or she can use them.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Even if you go in on Saturday and you're like, oh my God, this is too much, I can't cope, just stay close to Samara and let her know what you're doing. Just as long as Samara has as much notice as possible, I think.
Yeah, of course. No, I will do.
Yeah. Okay, right. I'll send over the handbooky thing now, and I will do